The Homo habilis, better known as handyman, name given by because stone tools were found near its fossil remains, and it is assumed this species developed the ability to modify stone into tools. This species of genus Homo lived during the Jurassic and Pleistocene period, and talking about their origin, some people argue that Homo habilis was made up of fossil specimens of Australopithecus and Homo. Otherwise, some others argue that Homo habilis and Homo erectus were separate lineage from a common ancestor instead of Homo erectus being descended from Homo habilis. Even though there is no specific time of death of this species, scientists state that they lived between 2.3 and 1.5 million years ago. The discovery of Homo habilis began in 1959 when two teeth were unearthed at Old Dubai, George in Tanzania by a team led by Louis and Mary Leakey. Parts of a boy's skeleton were located at the site the next year, and additional fossils from otherwise continued to be found. They were officially announced as a new species in 1964, but their placement into the human genus Homo was controversial. Additional fossils, including the discovery of a partial skeleton in 1986, have revealed that this species was more ape-like than the previously believed. As an example, we have OH62, a 1.8 million-year-old partial skeleton discovered in 1986 by Tim White in Old Dubai, George, Tanzania. These remains are thought to be those of a female because of a short stature. This partial skeleton was discovered as 302 fragments of fossilized tooth and bone. It was an important discovery because it enabled this species' arm, leg, and body proportions to be determined. These proportions revealed that this Homo habilis was more ape-like than previously believed. Like apes, this individual had relatively long arms and short legs.
The skull. They had a more rounded skull than their predecessor, as well as increased brain capacity with an increase of between 15 and 100 cubic centimeters compared to Australopithecus. They also had a occipital hole located more in the center. Their jaw had spatiform incisors, shaped like sword and larger than their predecessors, whose function was to cut and tear. Their molars were larger and had a thicker and therefore more resistant enamel. Face. They also had a less prognatic face than Australopithecus. This is, they had a flatter face. The body. The upright posture implied a reduction of the pelvis. This caused a consequence to the females, such as an advance of the delivers. This implied that the babies were more time depending on their mothers or the member of the tribe and that they established. Regarding their height and weight, the male had a height of between 1.2 and 1.4 meters and a weight of between 40 and 50 kilograms. The female were even smaller, 100 centimeters tall and weighing 34 kilograms. The foot. One of the few samples that have been found of the foot of Homo habilis, although it is very complete. Its importance is also historical, as it is one of the first postcranial hominin fossils found in East Africa. They found all tarsal bones, all metatarsals practically complete, and the leg distal phalanges. Hands. The fingers are relatively long. The proximal and middle phalanges present an intermediate curvature between modern humans and modern great apes, and the insertion of the flexors are characteristics that suggest that it maintained a certain arboreal life. Well, a good part of the morphology of the hand is modern and indicative of a great capacity of manipulating objects, but also for climbing trees.
Differences between Homo habilis and modern humans. In its appearance and morphology, Homo habilis was the least similar to modern humans. Homo habilis was short and had disproportionately long arms compared to modern humans. However, it had a reduction in the protrusion in the face. One of the most common differences between Homo habilis and Homo sapiens is body size and shape. Homo habilis' average height is between 100 and 135 centimeters, while Homo sapiens is 160 or 175 centimeters. The average weight of Homo habilis is 32 kilograms because they were very light and or weightless, and Homo sapiens is between 62 kilograms and more. In their brain, Homo habilis had a cranial capacity slightly less than half of the size of modern humans. But since they had a larger brain, this reflected significant changes to the shape of the skull. Their brain averaged 610 cubic centimeters in size. In their skull, brain case had become fuller and more rounded due to the expansion of the brain. There were signs of a slight forehead. Face had a small arched brow ridge and was smaller and shorter than those of the earlier ancestors, and they could walk in two legs. Jaws and teeth. Their jaw was smaller than those found in the earlier ancestors. Teeth were arranged in a more rounded arc like those of modern humans, and teeth had become smaller and more human-like. Limbs. There were features of the leg and foot bones that indicated that this species walked on two legs. Their legs were relatively short and their finger bones were slightly curved.
Homo habilis communities consisted of more males than females. This for males to defend the group on dangerous and exposed habitat by throwing sticks and stones against enemies and predators. These groups were often made of 70 to 85 members. Homo habilis may have been the first of our ancestors to make stone tools and likely used them to butcher and skin animals and crush bones. And also, sometimes they saw and scraped wood and cut soft plants. The first crude stone tools consisting of simple sharpers, core tools, scrapers were made as nearly as 2.6 million years ago and are classified as Mode 1 technology. As in their diet, Homo habilis and other early Homo had a greater proportion of meat than Australopithecus due to the brain growth they had developed. It is thought Homo habilis obtained meat from scavenging rather than hunting, and also by stealing kills from smaller predators such as jackals or cheetahs. They did not regularly consume tough foods, so fruits were an important component of their diet. This is indicated by the dental erosion for exposure to acidity found in their teeth.